I'm not sure what the right answer is on Northern Pass. I'm not sure that your fears of what it may do to your views or land values are valid, or that its root will be as ugly a cut as you seem to think. I am also not sure that the argument that New Hampshire is an exporter of power means that much. Electricity is fungible. New Hampshire is part of the Northeast. We can't remove ourselves completely. Energy is vital to our freedom and economic growth. I am also not sure that some of the responses hereabouts to fighting Northern Pass have been productive. The proposals, for instance, for a so-called rights-based ordinance were either dangerous or delusional, and I was happy to see that the Coos County Democrat took a stand against the one in Lancaster, and that Lancaster, as well as several others, overwhelmingly rejected it. As the Democrat put it, the North Country is nearly unanimous in its opposition to Northern Pass, and it is understandable that opponents are desperate to stop the project. But this seems like an extreme measure with little guarantee of success. What I am more sure of is that I think something good can come of this issue. I think it will be a long time before a big company will again just assume that what it wants is what the North Country wants or needs or will tamely accept. Moreover, I think the unity shown by the North Country in this fight is already a good thing and can be harnessed and put to good use. I said I would speak of not just what divides and distinguishes this region from southern New Hampshire, but what holds the two fast. It goes beyond tourism, of course, though tourism is a way a lot of us from the south came to first know and appreciate the North Country. And that is something that needs to be underscored, that North Country businesses don't need to just advertise and promote themselves outside New Hampshire, but within New Hampshire to the big population down south of the Notches. Shameless commercial plug here. New Hampshire is a very small state and proud of all it has to offer, from the first Connecticut lake to the first in the nation primary. North or south, we all want to keep that tradition. North or south, we love our high school sports, and there are plenty of people in the South who root for North Country teams. Our sports writer, Kevin Gray, had a wonderful piece yesterday about Pittsburgh and its tiny high school, and how so many people statewide rooted for its baseball championship a few years ago. We all rooted for Penny Patu and Carlton Fisk, and now for Bodie Miller. We are bound fast by our pride for being one of the original 13 colonies, the one that became the 9th and key state to say the Union will be. I took a walk yesterday morning up past General John Stark's property, which overlooks the Merrimack and beyond to Mount Uncanoonoc. I wondered whether Stark, fighting on the French and Indian Wars, ever bumped into Ebenezer Webster, who fought with Rogers Rangers, who came near these parts, and who would father the greatest statesman our little state ever produced, in Daniel Webster. New Hampshire, north and south, has all that in common, along with our pride in those who go off to war or in community service here at home. We cheered together when Alan Shepard became the first American in space. We gasped together when Krista McAuliffe and the Challenger disappeared. And we felt a collective hole in our heart when the old man was no more. I'm talking about Ray. I think, too, that we have in common a certain statewide newspaper, which plays an important role in letting folks up north know what is happening in Concord and Manchester and Nashua, and reminds people down south of the Notches that there is more up here than snow and mountain. There are very few statewide publications in the United States these days, as big companies have bought out independent publishers who had an eye on more than the bottom line. I think New Hampshire is fortunate that William and Naki Loeb were of that mindset, and that their newspapers continue under independent ownership that shares Loeb's view. Daniel Webster, defending Dartmouth College against the state before the U.S. Supreme Court, famously said, "It is a small college, but there are those who love it." I think the same can be said for New Hampshire. We are a small state, but there are those who love it.